Every major mobile operator is betting billions on O-RAN. But here's the problem. If you can't explain what actually travels across the Open Fronthaul interface, and why the 7-2x split changes everything about capacity planning, you're already behind. This is O-RAN Open Fronthaul explained, from the bits on the wire to the real deployment architecture. By the end of this video, you'll understand the CU, DU, and RU split, what the 7-2x functional split moves, where, and why fronthaul bandwidth is the number that makes or breaks your design. No buzzwords, no vendor slides, just how it actually works. Let's set the stage. In a traditional RAN, the baseband unit and the radio were tied together, usually from a single vendor connected by a proprietary CPRI link. That worked, but it locked operators into closed ecosystems. O-RAN Open Fronthaul explained in one sentence is this: take that closed link, define it as an open multi-vendor interface, and let any compliant radio talk to any compliant baseband. The O-RAN Alliance specified this interface so a radio unit from vendor A can connect to a distributed unit from vendor B. That sounds simple. It is not, because the moment you open the interface, you have to agree on exactly where to cut the signal processing chain. Cut it in the wrong place, and your fronthaul bandwidth explodes, or your radio gets too expensive. That decision is the functional split. And the choice the industry landed on is called 7-2x. Everything else in this video flows from understanding that split point. First, the three logical nodes: the CU, the DU, and the RU. The CU, the centralized unit, handles the higher layers. Think RRC and PDCP. This is the non-real-time stuff. Connection management, security, and the parts of the protocol stack that tolerate latency in the tens of milliseconds. Because it's not time-critical, the CU can live in a regional data center, far from the antenna. The DU, the distributed unit, handles the real-time layers: RLC, MAC, and the high PHY. This is where scheduling decisions happen every single transmission slot. At 30 kHz subcarrier spacing, that's a decision every half millisecond. The DU has to be close to the radio because the timing budget is brutal. Finally, the RU, the radio unit. This sits at the tower. It handles the low PHY and the actual radio frequency conversion. It takes digital samples and turns them into the waveform that leaves the antenna. So the chain is CU to DU over the mid-haul and DU to RU over the front-haul. The CU and DU split is well understood and relatively forgiving. The DU to RU split is where the hard engineering lives, because that's the open front-haul interface, and that's where the 7-2x decision bites. Now, why 7-2x? To answer that, you need to see the menu of options. 3GPP defined 8 possible split points, numbered from option 1 to option 8. Option 8 is the old CPRI style. You split below the PHY entirely and send raw time domain IQ samples to the radio. The radio is dumb and cheap, but the bandwidth is enormous and it's fixed. It does not care whether anyone is using the cell. A 100 MHz carrier with 4 layers can demand something on the order of 24 gigabits per second per radio, constant. That doesn't scale. At the other extreme, you push more processing into the radio. The radio gets smarter, the front-haul bandwidth drops, but now your radio is expensive and complex, and you've lost the cost advantage of centralizing baseband. So this is a trade-off. Move the split up the stack, and front-haul bandwidth falls, but radio cost rises. Move it down, and the radio is cheap, but the link is fat. The 7-2x split is the compromise the O-RAN Alliance chose. It sits inside the physical layer. The high PHY stays in the DU. The low PHY moves into the RU. Specifically, functions like the FFT, cyclic prefix handling, and digital beamforming live in the radio. Resource element mapping and the heavier coding stay in the DU. The key win. With 7-2x, you transmit frequency domain IQ data, and you only send data for resource blocks that are actually scheduled. Bandwidth now scales with load, not with raw bandwidth. That is the entire reason this split exists. So what actually travels across the Open Fronthaul interface? The O-RAN spec defines 4 planes: user plane, control plane, synchronization plane, and management plane. U-plane carries the frequency domain IQ samples, the actual user data. C-plane tells the radio what to do with that data, which resource blocks, which beams, which symbols. The two are tightly coupled and time-sensitive. S-plane is synchronization. This one is critical. The DU and RU must share a common sense of time, typically using Precision Time Protocol, PTP, with the G8275.1 profile. If your timing drifts beyond the budget, the radio transmits in the wrong place and you get interference or outright failure. M-plane handles configuration and software management of the radio. Now the transport. All of this runs over Ethernet, not CPRI. That's the eCPRI encapsulation, packets over standard Ethernet. This is a huge shift. It means your fronthaul is now a packet network with all the packet network concerns: jitter, packet delay variation, and the need for tight QoS. The one-way latency budget on the fronthaul is roughly 100 microseconds. There is no room for a sloppy transport network. Every switch hop, every queue, eats into that budget. Let's make the capacity planning concrete, because this is where engineers get burned. With 7.2x, fronthaul bandwidth depends on a handful of variables: channel bandwidth, number of antenna layers or spatial streams, IQ sample width, and how much of the cell is actually loaded. Here's the rough shape. A 100 MHz carrier, 32 transmit-receive radio, with realistic beam forming, will typically need something in the range of 10 to 25 gigabits per second on the fronthaul. Notice that range. It moves with the number of layers after beam forming, not the raw antenna count, because beam forming compression in the RU is what keeps this manageable. Without it, a 64T64R massive MIMO radio would be completely impractical to feed. This is why beam forming sits on the RU side of the 7.2x split. If it were on the DU side, you'd have to send the full per-antenna stream across the fronthaul, and the numbers would be absurd. So the planning rule is simple to state and easy to underestimate. Your fronthaul transport must be sized for peak demand, with headroom for C-plane and S-plane traffic, and with hard QoS guarantees. A single 25 gigabit Ethernet link is common per radio. High-capacity sites aggregate multiples. Get this wrong and you don't get degraded service. You get a radio that won't sync, or scheduling that silently caps your throughput. Now let's bring this into the field, because the theory meets reality at the transport network. When a 7.2x deployment fails, it usually fails in one of 3 predictable ways. First, timing. Your S-plane uses PTP. If your transport switches aren't PTP-aware boundary clocks, timing error accumulates across hops. The classic symptom: the RU comes up, M-plane connects fine, but the cell never goes on air, or it drops intermittently. Always check your PTP lock state and your time error budget before you blame the radio. Second, packet delay variation. The U-plane and C-plane are deadline-driven. C-plane messages must arrive before the U-plane data they describe. If a switch buffers C-plane traffic behind a burst of U-plane packets, you get late C-plane, and the radio discards the corresponding user data. The fix is strict priority queuing. C-plane and S-plane get the highest priority, always. Third, bandwidth under-provisioning. A link sized for average load works fine in lab testing and collapses at busy hour. You'll see throughput cap well below the air interface capability, and it'll look like a scheduler problem when it's actually fronthaul starvation. The practical checklist. Verify PTP profile G8275.1 end-to-end. Confirm boundary clock support on every hop. Enforce QoS with C and S plane prioritized, and size the link for peak plus headroom, never average. When you troubleshoot a 7.2x radio, work from the transport up, not from the radio down. 9 times out of 10, the radio is fine. The network underneath it is the problem. Let's recap. O-RAN splits the base station into 3 nodes: the CU for non-real-time higher layers, the DU for real-time scheduling and high PHY, and the RU at the tower for low PHY and radio. The Open Fronthaul interface sits between the DU and the RU, and it uses the 7:2x functional split, cutting inside the physical layer so beamforming and FFT live in the radio. That choice lets fronthaul bandwidth scale with traffic load instead of being fixed like old CPRI. Across that interface run 4 planes: user, control, sync, and management, all over eCPRI on Ethernet, with a roughly 100 microsecond latency budget and hard timing requirements. And in the field, your problems live in the transport: PTP timing, packet delay variation, and under-provisioned links. Understand the split, and you understand the entire deployment. If this made the 7:2x split click for you, the next step is understanding how the transport network itself is designed to carry it.